also the problem is not the problem. I mean, it's not the person. Then when we talk that an individual is an expert, we are obviously already giving him the uniqueness that he is an individual. You are different from her, she is different from her. But there is something else which is common to all your social workers. There is something common to those 2-3 people who are behind their library science people. Common to something else that they are law people. There was one political science fellow vanished now, but otherwise there are a couple of other people who come. So commonality is the generalistic, not journalistic, generalistic characteristic, but uniqueness is your own. The way probably you see, the way probably I see at the same problem will be different. That's the kind of understanding that you need to. And similarly, based on that, when you so boldly indicated that you want to be doing NET, is it? NET JRF? Okay. NET. What is NET? National Eligibility Test. Okay. You want to do the National Eligibility Test and ensure that you pass that with an intention of doing PhD, then you finally want to go to academics. I would probably adjust the goal in collaboration with you. I would probably say NET is a medium level goal. Becoming an academician is probably the primary goal. I would probably adjust that goal by saying, yes, you are a good student and you want to contribute to social work. Have you ever done social work? Have you understood the practice? After practicing a few years, after seeing left, right and center, you understand what social work is all about. Then you do PhD, your blossom will be like a sunflower. Because you put nutrition, you got the roots, which are adventitious, but there is still also in the middle somewhere a taproot formation. You are strong in your foundation. One of the ongoing things with me, with UGC in this country, and everybody in this country, I want a ban on an MSW or anybody going for PhD until 8 years. That's how I do it. But that's left to you. Because zero knowledge, understanding, difference between an MSW today and an MSW yesterday becoming a teacher today. I have just submitted a paper yesterday for my second semester. I got good marks, so today I will become a lecturer. I don't know how to write a paper myself, and I'm going to guide somebody to write a paper. This is not, you need to be someone to experience that feeling. Unfortunately, people see the short-term goal and the short-term goal becomes the long-term goal because there is no other alternative. Fresh thinking. Yeah, I did library science. Good. What are you next doing? IPS. What is library science to do with IPS? Nothing is to do with nothing is the answer. A degree is a degree is a degree. I entered library science. I like the police uniform, so I become IPS. I'm an engineer. I don't think I want to do engineering. I want to start a restaurant. So what would I do? What would I do? How would I guide him? I would say, yeah, not a bad idea. First thing is not a bad idea. Anything that client says is not a bad idea. When does he recognize it's a bad idea? Is when awareness comes to him. Your job is to crystal clear ask those questions so that he gets awareness that it is a bad idea or a good idea. The decision for bad idea or good idea, throw away the idea, is his and not yours. Although you are part and parcel of the collaborative idea formation, you can never take over somebody's life. When I said today, I'm not taking over your life, but I said, if there was an opportunity, if you give yourself the opportunity to mature to do social work in a strength-based way, without even touching anything else, you want to produce a PhD, then it is nothing but a paid PhD. How did I learn about it? I need to tell you a little story. In the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, in the 1975-1977 when I was studying, now you know, I already said how old I am, but 77 when I passed out, my would-be wife was also passing out from the same university. A professor Mukherjee in psychology wanted to take her for PhD. So I went to Dr. Gore, who is the director of the social sciences and social work at that point in time, and said, Nisha is doing PhD, and I want to do PhD under you in urbanization, etc., etc. Then he said to me, no, you won't do, and you can't do. I said, why not? I'm a merit scholar. I'm a Tata Durarjin merit scholar. He said, I won't accept you. Instead, you go to Vilonia, work for 2 years under Bunker Roy's, he had a Toka project. He had all those projects where to make toys, or in Barefoot College. I used to have a very good relationship with Gore, Professor Gore, and I said, what? You know, me and Nisha are getting married now. And we want to start our life, and both of us, if we are PhD scholars, we get 800 rupees. So with that, we can start our life. He said, PhD is not a solution for marriage. I don't want to do paper PhD. Application form. He is the man who used to feed me when hostel was closed during holidays. Because I was from Telangana, another state, and would stay in Tata Institute and do jobs. I would do research assistant jobs and everything. Food would not be there. So Grace, his wife, would say, Rita, come over and eat some food today. So occasionally, one day, Grace, somebody used to refuse to feed me. In India, there is a tradition. I eat Monday in Zenith's house, Tuesday in Nitin's house, third day in somebody else's house. Such traditions are already there in India for many, many students who do not have basically food at a particular time. But anyway, people used to feed me for what it was, not that. And later, we did get married the next year. I went to College of Social Work to become an assistant lecturer. My wife became some research associate or Cardiac Primary Association. After 4 years, 5 years, there was an itch in my feet to do PhD. So 77 I finished degree, gold medalist. Until 84, I was not allowed to do even PhD. I found a guy. He took me to an anthropologist. That anthropologist for 1 year hammered me to read right from Hammondorf to everybody else in the country. Went on reading. Almost I became an anthropologist. Then I became almost anthropologist. I started taking anthropological topics and started telling him, I want to compare one village which is agriculturally developed, one village not agriculturally developed, and I want to compare these two and produce a PhD. Then he said, you are inspired by Kusum Nair, who has done the PhD on Halina and Dalina. I said, yes, I want to find two other villages like that. Now I want to go back to those two villages where she studied in 1952. I want to study them in 1978 to see the difference. He said, great. Sit down. Then he took my hands and handed me over to an economist who made me mad for the next 1 year to read basic economics and everything else. Then I became an economist, technically. Third year, then I was almost getting fed up. Then he said, you seem to be okay now to undertake a PhD. In the third year of my PhD, I started. In the fourth year of my so-called PhD, part-time, I took 128 days. I wrote 134 pages in one lot in 2.5 months. A family friend of mine was typing up. We had a lot of good beer and everything else. That's all that we were doing. We finished the PhD in a story. What am I saying as an example? The example is simple that when you have the ability to write, when you have the opportunity to build it up, when you have every thinking that is well said and well written down in your mind, you will be able to reach that. So, aspirations should be fine. All aspirations are fine. But feeding the aspiration in a timely way, in a step-by-step way, is also important. So the smart goals that we did in the morning are good. A goal, an achievable goal, a timeline, it's all fine. But the temporal nature and the temporary nature of the smart goals, you've got to think, and then we can do that exercise as well. So when we say people are their own experts, they know what the problem is. I respect you when you said you want to do NET and JRF immediately. But that's based on the limited amount of knowledge that for an understanding, that is the only way, because that is the only thing that you've seen. On the contrary, if you have a mentor who told you, go to rural areas and find out what's happening. Or a mentor like him who would have said, in my time I had studied PhD thesis in suicide deaths. Just now go and follow the impact of the trauma of an agricultural middle class man commits suicide, the impact of that on their children. Will they want to be in agriculture? Or have they wound up their life in agriculture and moved away to the city? So research, in a way, should be innovative, creative, forthcoming with something new, and actually built up in such a way that it can actually result in something new. So that's the crux. Now, who are we? We are social workers. We are administrators. We are a whole lot of people who have got the power in our hand. When we work like this, and we expect somebody to pick it up, our entire apparatus is removing what I would say the human dignity in that particular field. If on the contrary, we say, yes, this is what you deserve, this is what you need, this is Prime Minister's program, Awas Yojana, whatever it is, yeah, we're trying to improve upon, this is fine. Take it, sign and go. There's a big difference between you feeling the power by oppressing somebody and you feeling the power of actually recognizing that the other person has already deserved that, and all you have done is an enabling room for it. So we don't control anybody. That is the original philosophy. Now, at the same time, we don't have a right over their lives too. You know, हम किसी को उदाहरण नहीं करते. They come by themselves. They build themselves. We just are in a position to enable it. That's what we need to do. We can't set an agenda for something. We can set an agenda for our conference because we are interacting. किसी और के लिए हम नहीं कर सकते. अपने आप को खुद का एजेंडा बनाना है. अपने आप को लिमिट्स डिस्कस करना. You will be able to figure it out. So let's move. So this is the kind of view that our way is the best. हम जो समझते हैं as the government, as the state, as the university, that will be better. It is true, most of the time, we think when we are in power, we also have expertise. It has not come to us without any study, so we accept. And we do this by comparing the need from one place to the other. Comparative needs से, चलो बॉम्बे में हमने slum school निकाला, वहाँ का multi-story buildings बनाना. That is helping people to live better. Hundred slum houses took this much land. 400 houses will take only this much land. Fair, good, viable. But what does that housing do? What does that housing not do? Multi-story building में आपका जो बकरी है या कुछ भी है, एनिमल है, उसको बाहर टांग नहीं सकते. You can't have hen, chicken or whatever it is going around. वैसे किसी की डेड बॉडी हो जाएगी तो उसको घर के सामने नहीं ला सकते क्योंकि you got to walk around. If there are certain things that are not possible, you can't have a dead body in a multi-story building standing in front of your house, which is culturally important for some time. So then what do you have the architects and planners do? They provide a communal space outside. These days thinking is going on like that. Multi-story building, outside somewhere, they provide a place where prayer can be done. The kind of rituals for death rituals can be taken care of. Marriage rituals can be taken care of. Because the lift is small. You can't wash the bodies and things like that. So this is how interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary work is going on beyond social work. हमें इतनी घमंड नहीं करनी चाहिए कि हम सोशल वर्क, समाज कार्य और समाज के कंप्लीट उद्धार कर सकते, नहीं करते. जहाँ पर भी कोई डिसिप्लिन थोड़ा बहुत कमियाँ हैं, उस कमियों को हम आगे खींच सकते हैं, डिस्कस कर सकते हैं. स्कूल में डिसिप्लिन की प्रॉब्लम होती है तो चिल्ड्रन को काउंसलिंग दे सकते हैं. डिसिप्लिन की प्रॉब्लम क्यों हो रही है उसके लिए हमें और लर्निंग करना पड़ता है. To think that social work is doing everything is not a right thing at all. We are there to do a few things as a result of the dysfunctioning of the social systems. Social systems keep on showing some dysfunction. Family has a dysfunction, a child gets into a disorder. School has a dysfunction because school teacher cannot discipline everybody. So therefore, a school social worker may be necessary. An engineering building, engineer builds those buildings, but he has not thought about communal spaces, ritual spaces. You have the desire to put the communal spaces, the ritual spaces, आंगनवाड़ी, बच्चों को खेलने के लिए, play with a place for children to play. All of those things which you think you need to give it to them so that they can plan. So the essence of this is, in a social framework when we are on innocent-based practices, we ought to consider transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary projects. एक उदाहरण आपको दूंगा, one example I will give you. ASAR is an agency, Ahmedabad Study Action Group is an agency. वो अहमदाबाद में कीर्ति शाह, an architect started. उसको घर बनाना था, he has to make huts and houses. ASAR is an organization in Ahmedabad. So immediately when I'm not able to translate an example, just raise a finger or something, okay? I'm very conscious that you should be given the knowledge just as the Sri Lankan government officers who are here. Okay, so what they did, they wanted a roof which is a single roof, not too many tiles, mechanically managed tile, where when the water falls, it will not leak inside, but the water falls on the everywhere outside. So they made 4 walls or 3 walls, and they made a semicircular roof, pre-made semicircular roofs. It was easy for them to put them on, screw them up. Where 500 houses will take maybe some time, there was a possibility for them to speed it up. Then somebody said, probably that could be bent in such a way, in the center, if you could even have a square hole and put a nice glass piece, solid one, as much as possible in the daytime, there will be light. Over a period of time, somebody else came, just as the daylight comes, because there's a glass piece, even if water is not falling down, somebody said, if you can actually put one solar panel in the daytime, and underneath that put a bulb, in the night there will be light too. India is a country with inventions. India is also another word for invention. Invention, of course, can be completely new. Jugaad is another word that we use in our country. Kuch bhi ho, kuch bhi chala hai. We should be proud of it. I am very proud of it. तो इतना हो गया कि सोलर पैनल ऊपर लगाए, तो for the hole they put old Coca-Cola bottle and they use the filament inside and it is lighting up. What an ingenious way of doing things. People live. In this country, poor man is not jealous about the richness. Poor man, when he looks at this building he is constructing, a Lambada who is constructing a building for you, he is not looking at it, इसमें मैं एक दिन रह सकता हूँ या नहीं. He is only thinking, I hope I get my wages correctly, I can go home and eat my food. Jealousy and poverty do not go together. Middle class, upper middle class, others go together. These are the values that you must understand. Increase your observation to such a level that you appreciate the client's human values for what they are. Library science students, political science students, am I making sense to you? Good. It's difficult for me to go beyond social work, but I try to do that. Okay. So, the thing about is power and experts. हम समझते हैं कि हमारे पास सब कुछ है, क्योंकि हमारे पास MSW है, BSW है, थोड़े लोगों के पास BSW MSW है तो वो as good as PhD. But if you have not had good practical experience, which was found out by yourself, I did not have to test it, you tested it yourself. The practice zero इसलिए है कि ज़्यादा फील्ड वर्क होता नहीं है, वहाँ क्या क्वेश्चंस पूछना हमको आता नहीं है, कहीं कहीं जगह टीचर्स भी फॉल्ट हो सकते हैं, तो नेचुरली what you get is not what you deserve, what you get is what is being pushed through supply chain. In the supply chain, if you have good things, it's a different story. If we preserve that we know the problem all by ourselves, we know how the solution can be reached, then you are removing the client from this area and expecting him to tackle himself. Is the tea getting ready? You must work to time. Okay, that's an order. Please. I can work late. Because the boys need a little bit of exercise, a little bit of tea and everything else. Why things are the way they are? Did we analyze the capacities? These all become very, very important for us. So, हम कौन हैं? Who are we? Being in power can be very, very coercive. Being in power, instead of protecting, we might tell them, I am protecting you, and we can push them to the wall. We assume that we know everything. हमें सब कुछ पता है. हम जानते हैं क्योंकि हम पढ़ लिखे हैं. पढ़ लिखने से फॉरेस्ट में क्या क्या होता है आपको नहीं आता. पढ़ लिखने से फॉरेस्ट में टूरिज्म से जाके वहाँ पर सब कुछ धंधा करके बियर बॉटल्स ऐसे देख के आने से आपका इको टूरिज्म होता नहीं. कौन जा रहे हैं आजकल? यंग पीपल गो इनटू सो कॉल्ड टूरिज्म एरिया टाइगर्स को प्रोटेक्ट करने. कैसे होता है? अगर नहीं जाएंगे तो प्रोटेक्शन होगा, नहीं जाएंगे तो पैसे नहीं आएंगे. फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट को पैसे आना चाहिए तो ऐसे करना चाहिए. प्राइवेट लैंड को प्राइवेट ओनर्स को दे देते हैं हम फॉरेस्ट ताकि उसकी लूट वैसे चलती है. इट्स नॉट क्रिटिसिज्म. मैं एंटीकोविड नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, सच बोल रहा हूँ. इसको वी हैव टू ट्राई एंड चेंज इट. So, Samaj social workers must take over ecotourism projects in such a way that respect to the animal and respect to the tribal whose lands they are entering in have to be protected. Who can protect the tribal lands better than the tribal themselves? They know what it is. If the food is not there, tigers are coming into our villages. If food is created in there, tigers won't come into our villages. When tigers come into our villages, newspaper fellows will simply take the photos, but do nothing about it. Others will just watch all of that. And they say, then there is a social workers who will say, man versus animal conflict. इसमें पेपर्स आते हैं, इतने सारे पेपर्स लिखे हैं मेरे पास. मैं मानता हूँ ह्यूमन बीइंग का और एनिमल का कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, बट इकोलॉजिकल बैलेंस में कौन कहा आपको जाके उसको खुजली करो, उसकी इन्वायरमेंट पूरा बिगाड़ दो? Who told you to forsake the ecology of that particular animal and animal kingdom? Who told you to indulge in, you write papers on man and conflict, man and animal conflict, but who told you to go and disturb and remove all the habitat of the animals and then say, we only have 527 tigers. Tiger Ratna died the other day while delivering 4 babies and it becomes India Today news. आज की ताजा खबर. Instead, talk about how somebody actually cared and delivered the babies better. So this is the thing. Positive reporting, bipartisan writing, acceptance, patriotism, respect to the nation, respect to the culture, respect to the values in the country. These are important. It doesn't mean wrong things should ever be supported. The wrong things should be corrected. So, in this, use the language of the strength-based way and talk to them in an organized way. It is quite possible to change. I am only about possibilities. मैं कभी probability के तरफ नहीं जाता. I am not about mathematics. I am not about ANOVA. If I heard anybody yesterday, the scientist here, मुझे maths से कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. Poverty देखने के लिए मुझे counting की जरूरत नहीं है. Plane से नीचे आते ही मुझे poverty दिखता है. गांव से बाहर जाता हूँ तो मुझे poverty दिखता है. Quality से मतलब है. If your quality, your mother knows how to make rice even before pressure cookers came. Hot water, this much of 2 fingers inside is enough. When the rice is getting up, she will remove the rice. She will eat and see it's done or not. For that you don't need sophistication. So I'm saying, let's go back to the basics. I'm not taking you back to old Ramaraja or something or the other, if you don't want to respect. जैसे हो वैसे हो. But in this whole process, let's do what can be done. Do not impose your values on anybody else. So what we will do is, as soon as somebody tells us we are getting tea, we will play. And then we will continue. I have said today that I'll probably run the shop till 4 o'clock. But even if 10 minutes or 15 minutes it goes here and there, it's kind of okay because I'm working to Chhattisgarh students' time. They come like rods, they go like rods. So let's say, थोड़ा सा ले लो extra. और फिर कल मिलते हैं definitely. So we go beyond 15. But right now, I would say we look at one slide and then break for the tea or break for your questions when I am outside and then start working again. So in this one slide that I am going to make, one slide that you see is conditions. Yesterday we discussed. When you feel that you can change, when you know you are safe, when you know you are confident of the solution, when you know आप जो कह रहे हैं मैं सुन चुका, I have heard, सुन रहा हूँ, and आपको कुछ एक आशा किरण दिखता है. There is a ray of hope somewhere that you can actually see. You have sufficient motivation and at the same time sufficient resources. Listen, you are very, very lucky. You have parents who are putting money into to study. Overseas, even in developed countries in Australia and other places, 16-year-old children, from 12-year-old children start working, 16 onwards, they earn their living working in McDonald's, that place, this place. When they are doing graduation of 3 years degree, Very rarely 3-year degree is completed in 3 years by graduate students. They take 4 or 5 years because they are working simultaneously while they are learning. When you go abroad, you are ready to do jadu pocha in somebody's house, do McDonald work and everything because you want to control the fees that you pay within the country. Compare yourself as middle class with somebody else. You need that preparation. Many of our parents who send you abroad, just last 2 minutes they teach you how to make upma, how to make puri or whatever it is. You don't know even that, most of us in our houses, because everything is handed over. So ये जो blessings हमारे पास है, इसको काउंट करते जाओ, innumerable blessings. जैसे मैं आपको कल shake hand बताया था, shake hand to your mothers and fathers in a nice way. मैं वो भी बता दूंगा कि when to say gratitude, when to say happiness, especially. We'll stop here. Mics down, recording down, and we'll come back.